It takes a certain mindset to start a business, and some people have it, some people don't.
Today's moonshooter is John Heaton, a husband, father of 6, and baseball coach. Together with his wife, Teresa, he runs a thriving commercial insurance brokerage serving the Inland Empire in Southern California.
We are a commercial insurance business, but we branch out and do a few different things to help business owners.
In this episode, John opens up about his rough beginnings, the lows that tested him, and the highs that followed. We dig into how his faith and family kept him going, what he's learned about sales and people.
Is there anybody you learned from in your sales career?
My dad was probably the best salesman I ever met.
Really?
Yeah, my dad didn't have many friends, but he had customers.
How would you build a relationship with people?
Making sure people feel comfortable with me. And that, because with health insurance or commercial insurance, it's a relationship. There's a lot of things that go back and forth throughout the year that they're going to need from you.
It's a real down-to-earth conversation about perseverance, purpose, and what it truly means to keep shooting for the moon when life doesn't go as planned.
If my life was a movie and that movie was ending, I would love to see just some of the things that I've done pass on to my kids to be successful.
John, welcome to
you.
Moonshooters. So this podcast is about celebrating moonshooters. And in my understanding of moonshooters are those who start businesses are definitely a moonshooter, because we are the difference between someone who starts a business and someone who is employed, which is no offense to those who are employed, but those who are employed, they work, they sell their time, and they get a compensation.
Sure.
For us, we can work 24 hours and still don't make any money.
Right.
So the work does not equate. So we have to generate value. So that's what's this whole podcast is all about.
Great. Yeah, it takes a certain mindset to start a business, and some people have it, some people don't. I firmly believe that.
So you think it's character thing?
I do. I think there's some people that are just conditioned character-wise to just feel the security of every other week knowing they're getting a paycheck. Doesn't mean they're any worse or better or worse employees or at the work that they do. But I know professionals, guys with high degrees that just feel comfortable knowing that every 2 weeks or every week or whatever their pay scale is, that they're getting a paycheck. Whereas going on their own would scare them to death, and you got to have there's patience, there's some determination, and a willpower to get through that wall. Because I think any business owner that's been through it, there's a wall that you got to get through. And it's hard. First few years are hard.
Where this is coming from though? Like let's say I'm a teenager. Is it from the childhood, from the way your parents treat us when we're kids? Is it instilled what would you be able to say that you can instill in your kids the entrepreneurship spirit?
I think so. I think for I think there's some people that are just not conditioned for that type of risk, and I don't think it matters, how they're raised. But I think there are some that is if you put in that entrepreneur mindset at a young age, maybe in the teenage years, they'll be more inclined to give it a shot, try to start a business, to develop a good idea, and then run with it. But I think I really believe that there are some, because I see that. I see, we insure businesses, so I see businesses make it and not make it all the time. And the ones that necessarily don't make it isn't because they're not good at what they do. A lot of times they just don't have that will to keep going, because there's a mark, there's that wall that you've got to get past. And every business is probably a little different, whether it's a year, 5 years, 10 years, to get past where you truly made it, or at least on your way to making it.
And now you are probably you've managed to tell your story on multiple podcasts.
Sure.
You started your own Doing Business in the Inland Empire podcast, and I've listened to actually produced a lot of
That's right.
all of these shows for you.
You've listened to them all.
So I have an idea about your business.
Yeah.
And we don't want to repeat that for the audience of this episode, but if you can, in brief, talk about what Heaton and Associates does.
Yeah, so we are a commercial insurance business, but we branch out and do a few different things to help business owners succeed. We started off as group health, doing employer-sponsored health insurance plans, and then that kind of morphed into us doing commercial insurance, so doing all the general liability, commercial auto, E&O, et cetera, so business owners are protected by both health insurance and then commercial insurance. And then we do HR support. So we help employees put the HR tools or the HR policies and procedures in place for their employees. And then the newest venture that we're doing is payroll processing for our clients.
Excellent. Yeah. And when did you start the business?
We started the business in 2011.
2011, that means that you are in business for
We're going into our 15th year.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's crazy. Yeah, it's fun.
So before 2011, you were employed?
I was. I worked for a large payroll company selling payroll. Yeah.
All right. So you were one of those we were talking about just a minute there. Okay, you're working hard, you're getting your paycheck. What was that moment that you said, you know what, I'm ready now?
When I realized I was working so hard for this big company, but I was only getting paid on these accounts once. And then I had to go sell another one to get paid again. And, you realize that they're getting paid every time that client, makes a payment. And I was like, there's got to be a better way for me to make money. I want to build a business and have a relationship with these clients, because in the payroll world, or at least where I was working, you sold it and then you moved on and you never talked to that client again. You passed it on to a payroll specialist or whatever. And I just didn't like that model. And I am a risk taker. I think we had a business before, a finance business in 06, 07, 08, 09, and it failed, during that financial crash. So we understood, what we kind of learned from that some of the things that we didn't do well and we could have done business was out of our control. The economy took a.
When you say we, is it you and
me and Teresa? Yeah, me and my wife. But it was a really poor time to start a business, especially in finance.
Okay. So I think I want a piece in the puzzle.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a financial business before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did.
What was that?
Equipment financing, residential and commercial mortgages.
Mortgages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this straight out of college?
No. So I went to work for a financial company that did equipment leasing out of college.
Okay.
So I worked. That was a W-2'd. I was an employee of that job.
Right, company. And this failed. Can you tell me more details? Like, how did it fail? Because I think we learn a lot more from failure than we learn from success.
So things were going really good to start. It was really easy to get loans approved. And then we had this idea to pump so much money into marketing. And so we did. We put all this money in, which is pretty much all of our savings, into marketing. And then all of a sudden, the economy crashed. Mm-hmm. And so we have all these ads going out and, leads coming in, and now we can't place the business anywhere. Mm-hmm. Our lender list went from 100 lenders to 2. It wasn't necessarily the 2 you wanted. And that was a struggle. And we held on probably for another year before we realized that this just isn't going to work. Mm-hmm. And I needed to go get a job that had a paycheck, so I've been in that position where I needed that guaranteed paycheck. And so that's why I went to Paychex, worked there for 3-4 years before we decided to go off on our own.
You said you stayed for a whole year to hold off the business.
Yeah.
And during that time, you were not making ends meet or it
was a struggle. Yeah, we were just living off our savings and it was a struggle.
And when was that decision to say, "Oh, I need to find a job"? And was it easy to jump back to W-2s?
No, it wasn't easy. It's tough to go and have a boss again. So that was it's kind of a gut punch, and you got a humbling experience. So that's the way to put it. And but I knew I needed to provide for my family. I needed to go out and grind and do the things that I do so I can pay my bills. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
you took that job with the payroll company. Was it a sales job?
Yep, sales job, outside sales.
Okay, so you've been in sales pretty much all your career.
My whole career has been sales.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's so interesting because watching you interact with people, you're not the typical salesperson at all.
Nope. I'm not a super in your face, not a outspoken. That's just not my style. I'm a very laid back. There's 2 different types of salesmen, in my opinion. There's the farmer and a hunter, and I'm not a hunter. I'm not going out and going door to door, picking up the phone, making sales calls. Everywhere I go, trying to sell somebody, commercial insurance or health insurance. That's not my style. I plant seeds. Mm-hmm. I think that's the best way to do it. And then I watch them grow, and then, some produce, some don't. But that's always been my, kind of my philosophy on sales. Some of my best accounts have come from me just coaching Little League or coaching basketball or church, and just people watch you, and then they realize what you do, and they're like, you know what, I have something, I have a need of what you have, and you're a good person, and let's see if it's a good fit. That's how a lot of my best clients have happened.
So you wait for them to ask you?
Most of the time.
Okay.
Most of the time. Very, very few times have I gone out and asked them, who does your commercial insurance? It's mostly them asking me what I do. This is what I do. And then, sometimes the phone rings, sometimes it doesn't.
And then it takes a lot of nerve though.
Sure.
Because I experience this all the time. I will meet a business owner and I know I can help them. Like I know they need my help.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for me to resist kind of telling them like, hey, I could help you. So how would you stop yourself?
Well, it wasn't always stop myself. I think I do a pretty good job of letting people know what I do. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. Your elevator pitch isn't salesy. It's just more educational. This is what I do, and this is what I do for my clients, and maybe even give an example of something that you've experienced with a client where you help them out. I do that, and I think I'm good at that. I do that a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm just not that guy. Say, hey, how can I help you? Let me get you a quote. We quote all the time, but that's not what I consider. It's like, hey, let me analyze your business. Let me see what we can do for you,
right?
And then let's see together if it's a good fit. If it is, let's move forward. We'll work together. If not, at least maybe I've provided some value for you, some education to help you, move forward with wherever you're at.
Is there anybody you learned from in your sales career? Any books that you've affected you or impacted you?
Yeah, I've had a lot of good mentors. There were some great mentors in the finance company I worked with right out of college. It was an office in Irvine. My dad was probably the best salesman I ever met.
Really?
Yeah. My dad's philosophy was, and it was funny because my brother and sisters, we always joke about this. My dad didn't have many friends, but he had customers. And that it was the joke. You didn't have friends, you had customers. But he was when he wanted to be, my dad was larger in life, very outgoing, let everybody know that he was what he did. And he was in the moving and storage business. So he was a salesman for a moving company. And I learned a lot from him. And matter of fact, early on in my career, when I had my finance business, he would actually come out with me, meet with me and Teresa and some of my employees, and he'd give some training and stuff. But I would say my dad had a big influence on that. I've had others too, other influences, but my dad was probably the biggest.
So you mentioned something very important, the hunting versus farming.
Yeah.
And these are two different methods. For example, if someone give you a call, hi, John, I heard that you're in commercial insurance and I have a business owner and I'm interested to explore health insurance products with you. This is a lead coming your way, knocking on your door.
Right.
But they might be shopping.
And that's fine. I'll take those all day long. I'll compete. I'll do it best I can. That's beyond the hunting and gathering. You already have it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So the hunting, what I was saying, you're going out and finding the leads.
Yeah.
The farming is you're nurturing it, and it's going to come a later date.
Right.
And I've done both, Najee. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something let's be clear. I have done both, and if I want to be good at hunting, I can be.
Sure.
Early on in my insurance career, as you're building the health insurance, or the health and the commercial insurance, book, your business, there's not a lot of money coming in. Mm-hmm. It takes time to build those renewals and those residual income to come in. So I had to go out and sell life insurance. I'm sitting, in front of a little old lady who's 80 years old, just praying that she buys this, life insurance that would help pay for her funeral someday. Mm-hmm. And it was an awful feeling for me because I needed her to do it in order for me to pay my rent or my mortgage. But I didn't want to sound pushy, so I didn't. But it's that I remember. So by the way, I have this this big distaste for life insurance because of that experience. I do that for a couple of years. Go out and hunt and sell life insurance policies.
But I want to talk about the two sides. Like someone calling you, you don't know this person, they are just literally shopping around, versus how would you nurture that relationship that leads into that. But do you have, my question actually is, do you have a process when someone calls you? Do you start with small talk, then this, or you don't think about this stuff?
So I am not, my kids laugh about this because I'm probably not a big small talk guy. That's not something I can do it. I can fake it, but it's not something I necessarily enjoy. So if somebody calls, I'm going to build a little bit of rapport. How did you find it? Why are you calling me? Where did you find that? So we'll talk about that. Maybe it was referred from a client or somebody who I network with. We'll talk about that. And then where I love to talk and where I build my rapport is I want to talk about them. Let's talk about their business, and let's dig in. And I'll spend, however long they want, but 20, 30, 40 minutes on the phone talking about their business and kind of uncovering their needs. And just through that process, you build rapport if you do it right.
Right.
It's not a lot, are you a Dodger fan or where do you go to dinner? That type of small talk isn't, I get bored of that. I don't like doing that. But talking about somebody's business, I can do that all day long.
Basically while you are asking the questions, you can demonstrate how professional you are, how qualified you are. It's kind of like when you go to a doctor and they're like, oh, what's wrong with your leg? And then they will start asking these questions. Does this will hurt? When they do this kind of diagnostic questions, you will kind of form an idea about this doctor, whether they're qualified or not.
Right.
And so I think, during that qualification period where you are asking questions, digging into their business, now you're showing your expertise without actually bragging about your expertise.
Well, and I think it's also important to use the resources that you have. I mean, if I'm in front of my computer, I've got their website up, I've got their LinkedIn profile up, I've got, I may even look up other social media. So I have information that I can talk about, especially their website. Let's talk about their service, their products that they're offering. It's definitely pertinent when we're offering commercial insurance. We need to know that. But people love to talk about themselves. They love it. Let them go. Let them talk about themselves. It makes both of us feel good. I don't like talking about myself. That's not a big thing for me, but most people do. And I've learned that, in 20, 25 years of sales.
So how would you build a relationship with people? I know it sounds bizarre to ask the question. Let's say you meet someone and you tell them that, I'm in commercial insurance, but I don't, you're not pushing your services on them. But how would you build that relationship over time?
Well, the first thing you want to do is qualify them. You want to make sure that it's a good fit. And what I mean by that is, well, first of all, for me, commercial insurance, you want to make sure they own a business. If it's an employee or somebody who doesn't own a business, sure, I'll be your friend. I mean, we can still hang out or whatever and talk, but it's not somebody who I'm going to farm, But as terms of building a relationship with them, it just takes time. If it's somebody who wants a quote right away, and you start that process right then. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you they want the cheapest insurance. I want the cheapest one. Well, we all kind of sell the same stuff. There's not a big difference, especially for commercial insurance agencies that aren't captive. So we can go to any carrier. We're all going to have access to pretty much the same policies. If it's health insurance, we literally sell the same stuff. There is nothing different. There's not one thing that a broker can sell that's cheaper than and I can't sell anything cheaper than what he does. So it comes down to who they want to do business with, what extra services that you provide, and are they going to like doing business with you? And I think that's where I do a pretty good job is making sure people feel comfortable with me. And that, because with health insurance or commercial insurance, it's a relationship. There's a lot of things that go back and forth throughout the year that they're going to need from you. They want somebody that's going to pick up the phone. They want somebody that's going to be knowledgeable. They want somebody that's easy to talk to, that they've already had a nice in-depth conversation with about insurance. In terms of building the actual rapport, I think that just happens through the process of the sales, but also the close. And it doesn't stop. It keeps going because, again, in the insurance world, we're not looking for, to do business with us once. We want every time the renewal comes up, they stay with us. That's why we do this. And so that's why it's important to keep nurturing that relationship.
And I feel like in this world, in your world, it's all about also longevity because, a lot of people start multiple things. Like they start, I'm going to sell insurance now. And it doesn't work for them for a long time. And then they switch. And then all of a sudden they disappear on you. And here I am trying to get kind of like the things to work for me. And I don't have a person, he moved out of state or whatever.
Yeah, that happens all the time in insurance and real estate, right? Where it's, you may have bought a policy from somebody, especially maybe a homeowner's policy from somebody, and then you go to renew it, and now you're dealing with somebody else because they've changed careers, they moved out of state, like you said, or maybe they went from insurance to real estate.
Exactly.
And that happens all the time. There's not a huge barrier for entry into the insurance world. You got to have an insurance license, but it's a pretty easy license to get. You don't have to do a ton of studying. It's not a law degree or getting your law license. So the barrier to get in isn't as hard as some other professions. So that's why a lot of people think they can jump into it. But once you get in, it's not easy. It's you don't make a ton of money right off the bat. I mean, we're getting a small percentage of the policy, and then you just got to build on that. And most of the time when you first start, unless you find a broker or a larger agency that can pay you a salary or a draw, it's tough. Again, let's go back to why I had to sell life insurance when I started.
Right. And you are a broker, so you don't have that big agency who's going to pay you.
Well, even the captive ones, the farmers, the Allstates, the State Farms, I don't think they necessarily get paid. Maybe they get a little bit more support from the home office because they're just franchises. But a lot of them can only sell whatever captive agency they work for. Sometimes they're allowed to go outside of it, but they're stuck with whoever they're with. And if whoever they're with decides not to write in California a certain product, well, now you can't write that product in California.
Got it.
We don't have those constraints. One of the nice things about being not captive is that a true broker is we can go to any carrier and talk about and placing the policy with them.
And this was by design. Like when when you started the agency, you made sure that you're going to be non-captive.
We didn't want to be captive. We could have gone to one. I think there's the big three in California. We could have gone to one of them and pitched our idea, and they probably would have offered us something to start something in the area. But that's not what we wanted to do. We wanted to be captive. And again, we started as health insurance. So health insurance, there isn't a captive model for that type of business. So we started there and kind of, and you've heard our story with Teresa, where I was answering the phones and, saying we don't do commercial insurance. And she heard me say that, and she's like, okay, give those leads to me. And that's how the commercial insurance just kind of blossomed because of her.
Back to the story where you were working for that payroll company and you decided, you know what, I'm going to go on my own. How did you get your first customer?
Well, so that process, I mean, to just kind of take a step back from that process took did we want to go and start another business? Because it was painful to end the first one. That was a painful process. And I was like, all right, I got a paycheck. So, I got a job where I know I'm going to get a paycheck every other week or whatever. That took a lot of prayer and a lot of discussions with me and Teresa to figure out if we wanted to go down this route again, because now there's sacrifices that we got to make all over again. Yeah. And that was, like I said, a lot of prayer to see if we wanted to go do that. And ultimately we did. Nice thing about what I did before in the payroll world is I already had a built-in client base, that I can go call on, to go talk about health insurance and commercial insurance, starting with health insurance. There wasn't a conflict because I didn't do that at the payroll company. And so I had this list of database of clients that I just went and talked to, and we got lucky. We started getting some clients come in and worked hard, worked our tail off. And but you still kind of starve for 2-3 years. If anybody who started an insurance agency knows, it takes a while to get it going. So
would you say that the first 2-3 years you were not breaking even?
Oh yeah, no, we were again living off our savings, just trying to break even each month, but that didn't work necessarily every month. Some months are better than others, depending on how well you do. But the nice thing about it was when you came around this, the 12 months to that month again, you knew it was a good month, so you add on to it. And then so you just keep doing that.
And you had kids at the time?
Oh yeah.
So it's a full household.
We had 4 kids. Doing with 4 kids. One was I think my oldest was turning 12. So, a couple of years away from high school.
Was Teresa working at the time?
So Teresa actually at the time was at home, but she was doing real estate. The nice thing about that is she's so talented. She's so good at whatever she touches. She's really, really good. And so she was having success part-time doing real estate, which was also nice. That kind of helped us keep us afloat. But then when the Affordable Care Act was signed in 2010, but actually when it went into effect in 2014, I needed help. All this paperwork, we didn't know what this bill was. We were trying to understand it. And at the same time, we were trying to explain it to our clients. So she came in the office, she helped me with the paperwork, still doing a little bit of real estate. But then that became more full-time, especially when she started, within 6 months, she's, going after the commercial insurance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for me, it was easy because my wife already has a stable job.
Yeah.
So at least one of us have a paycheck coming in.
We jumped in with no stable paycheck, a little bit of savings, and
Faith.
hard work, faith. Cross your fingers a little bit, and we got a little luck and had some rough times, no doubt. Had some rough times, but I don't think I would change it the way we went through it now, looking back, because it taught me. First of all, kind of, we had the failed business, and then we had a business that we struggled to start to get going, to get to the point we're at now. But it really taught you what you as a person could accomplish. It taught us how to manage a business properly. And I think I'm still learning. We're still learning how to figure this out. Now we're dealing with employees and, scaling, getting to a certain size that we want to get to, dealing with political stuff, the economy up and down. But ultimately, it's been a pretty fun ride to kind of go through it. And I don't, like I said, I don't think I'd change it.
You mentioned you did a lot of praying.
Sure.
So what's the role of religion in your journey?
Oh, it's big time. I mean, that's I would say that, so we're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We're, very much part of our lives. Like, this is me and Teresa and our families, this is, woven into our fabric of what we believe and how we operate our daily lives. I can't imagine getting through the 2006 to 2010 period without that. That really helped us get through. And even starting the new business, it helped us get through.
And when you pray about something, would you wait signs? Is this like, are you, because there's multiple ways to go about it. For us, we pray mainly for gratitude. Like, we pray for good health. We, like all of that protection and all of this stuff. For example, when you're about to start a new adventure, would you say, "Hey God, give me a sign if this is a good thing"? Is this something that you?
So I don't know if I'd ask for signs. We're always thanking, just like you. I think that's important, to thank God for the blessings that you've received. I think we'd ask for strength. We'd ask for patience. We'd ask for some long suffering, maybe to humble myself so that I'm ready for that next assignment that I need to take on, or that next job I need to take on. More stuff like that. Family protection, help. So I don't want my family to starve. Help me figure out this month so I can pay my rent.
Wow.
It'd be more of that type of stuff. And we were blessed. We got through it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And this is the journey of businesses. And it's very common to see that a lot of people who started businesses, they pass through those kind of periods.
Most business owners that we deal with had a make it or break it moment. Yeah. Most of them did. And most of them are faith-based, which is interesting. Most of them have some sort of faith that, a higher power helped push them through. But they all experienced that. And then the ones that we're still working with obviously pushed through and made it, or making it. And then we've had a number of ones that just didn't make it. That's just normal. Yeah. I mean, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. Some people have that tenacity to just, I'm not going to stop until I figure this out. Yeah. And some don't.
Yeah. Do you know anything about my story?
No. Well, a little bit. I know where you're from. But not.
Because I can totally relate to a lot of it. When I had a career in Dubai, so I was in the corporate world working for big brands, etc. Moved here to do my master's. I moved. Luckily, I had some savings. I moved with like a couple $100,000. Not too bad, but also in California, it's not too
goes fast.
Not great. Yeah, it goes fast. So I came. I have no credit, nothing, so I could not take any credit. So I had to buy my car and live for 2 years to complete my master's. And I thought that, I finished my master's degree and either I go back to Dubai and get another job, or I will find a job here and I will continue. Like, I've never thought that I will be on my own, like starting a business. Then I met my wife, and then
now you're not moving.
And now I'm not moving. But then I'm still not finding jobs.
Yeah.
And it's because my resume, I'm assuming that, there's a lot of these companies that are in the Middle East. They are very well known there. But here they're like, what are these names, right? They don't know, they don't recognize them. And so I was like, okay, well, my savings were about to drain, and I've been feeling that pressure because, I will never, I have a lot of pride about asking for money from anybody.
Sure.
So this is something like, oh my God, it's a red line. So I was like, I could see my bank account start to go all the way down. And I remember the last $6,000 that I had. I reached all the way to 6,000.
Yeah.
And I've started my business in 2023. And till probably half of 2024, zero, like nothing. I was not making any money because I'm not meeting people.
Right.
And I did a lot of mistakes in like how I was on my desk all the time where I should be going out.
Sure.
So I was this is another lesson that I learned. But anyway, yeah, so I drained all the way and I was like, oh God, well, am I going to make it or not? But then, yeah, as you are feeling completely desperate at the bottom of it, something start to open up.
Yeah.
And then one thing leads to another. And then now, okay, you're feeling, okay, now we have a momentum and we are going on the right path. But yeah, I mean, I totally relate to what you're saying about, am I going to pay rent today, this month and stuff?
Well, and what I like about you, Naja, is you do work hard. You can tell because you're all over the place, but you're good at what you do. Mm-hmm. I think that's important. You got to be tenacious. You got to work hard, but you also got to be good at what you do. You can be tenacious and work hard, but if you're not good at what you do, you're not going to have any repeat clients.
That's true.
They may try you once, but that's it. And you are really good at what you do. Mm-hmm. And I think we're pretty good at what we do, and we've been blessed to have clients that have been with us from the beginning, and that's been fun watching them grow.
I want to show you one video that I did.
Okay.
Probably in the same spirit, and I want to see what do you relate most from that video. Welcome to Moonshooters. In 1961, a president stood before the nation and said,
"We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard."
8 years later, we all watched as one small step of man, a giant leap for mankind.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This podcast is named after that spirit. It's for the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. We are here to celebrate the builders who don't wait for permission, the believers who work in silence while the world sleeps, the stubborn ones who turn rejection into fuel, the ones who choose the hard path because moonshots aren't ever made on easy roads. Every empire started as an idea someone else called crazy. Every innovation began in the dark, roots forming under pressure, invisible to everyone but the one doing the work. So if you've ever felt that pull, that whisper, telling you that you're meant to build something that truly matters, this podcast is for you. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Which part do you feel?
Well, I can relate with the misfit part. I think and you think of all the successful business owners, the big guys, Elon Musk and Michael Dell and whoever else, they were all misfits or called odd at some point, but they just had this amazing idea and they were able to figure out how to go and make it work. Mm-hmm. So that's great.
You asked Steve on the podcast if your life was a movie and what would be like the highlight of it. So I'm going to ask you the same one to you right now.
My life was a movie would be the highlight okay.
The same question you asked him.
Yeah. No. I think at the end, if my life was a movie and that movie was ending, I would love to see just some of the things that I've done pass on to my kids to be successful. Because that's what it's all about. That's why we work. I got 6 kids. I got a big family. I have a grandson. I would love to see some sort of influence that I've had or that I've had in their lives just manifest maybe at the end of a movie. I think that would be neat for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do you have like 10-year goals? Are you a goal setter?
Oh yeah. No, yeah. Me and Teresa, we sit down and we go through our goals all the time. And like right now, our big goal is to get our payroll side up and going. And so, we got businesses coming in, and we have goals for that. We have goals for commercial insurance. We have goals for health insurance, but we have family goals. We have we're very goal oriented, especially, and that we pass that on to our kids. So hopefully they're goal oriented.
Right. But you and Teresa are the primary income generator to the business, correct?
Oh yeah. Yep. We're 100% owners.
Have you thought of hiring salespeople or a sales team?
So we have, and I think that's something that we need to probably start entertaining, is having a sales team. We have support staff. We have a few people that helps us process and underwrite and things like that. But we have not jumped into the sales staff world yet. Right now, it's just me and Teresa that are the sales staff. But we'd like to.
Is there any challenges to that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just the same challenge that anybody, when you're trying to hire somebody, you got to find the right person. Because if I find somebody that's in sales, wants to be in sales, and wants to sell insurance, I got to find the right person, because I'm going to be investing a lot of time helping that person generate their business. Depending on how we structure the income for them, more than likely it's probably going to be like a commission-based job. So it's going to be a certain person that understands that they're going to make money based on the results.
Yeah.
And, those are hard to find sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. When you told me the story about your kids and you have 6 of them.
6.
I was like, why? Why would you have 6 kids? Is this by choice? Talk about your family.
Well, I mean, does anybody choose to have 6 kids? I think sometimes it just happens, right? So, but we had our first 4 boys,
okay,
who are ages right now 24 to 17, and but when a few years back, when my youngest Josh, who's 17 now, but back when he was about 8 years old, Teresa thought that our family is not done yet. I thought we were. And I go, well, what do you mean? At the time, the doctor said she couldn't have any more kids. And she goes, well, we're going to try something else, and she says, we're going to adopt. And so we did. We started that process of adopting through San Bernardino County. And through that process, we found our daughter, Athena, when she was 5 years old. And she is 13 now. And then again, we had 5. So we thought we were done. Well, fast forward a few years later after that, about Christmas time, we get a phone call from the county saying that Athena has a brother in the system. And a
brother that you did not know about.
We knew about, but we didn't know that he was in the system. We thought that he was with mom or dad or whoever. And they said, he's been in the system. He's been there for a year. And would we be interested? And our first reaction was like, oh man, are we going to do this again? But after, again, thought and a lot of prayer, we said, how do we not do this? How do we our house is big enough. We can afford it. And so, we brought in David when he was 3 years old, and he is 7, turning 8 next month. And he came part of us. So it was never planned to have 6. I think it was God's plan for us to have 6. But it's been it's been fun. I wouldn't change it. And like I said, now I have a 3-month-old grandson from my oldest son.
That's super awesome. So you united Athena with her brother, basically.
Yep.
But I want to unpack what Teresa said about our family is not done yet. What made her say that?
Well, she always wanted a girl. Okay. So I think that was part of it. But that's probably a good question for her. She just felt that we weren't done. And I didn't have a feeling either way. I was like, I kind of thought we were done, especially because the doctor told us we were done. But I was a little caught off guard when she brought it up to me at first. But I softened, and I was like, okay, she knows. I mean, there's something that she knows that I don't know, and I'm going to trust my wife. And I thank God that I did, because, I mean, now we couldn't imagine not having David or Athena with us.
It's a lot of sacrifice, though, to have that big of a family.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, you have financial plans, right? Retirement plans, and I had it all mapped out when Josh is my youngest. He's 17 now. He's almost 18. He'll be a senior next year. I'm thinking he's going to be out of the house. I'm going to be 51 years old, and then I'll be an empty nester, and that's going to be great. All these vacations planned. Well, you add to the family, throws wrenches in that. And David's 7. So I'll be over 60 when he graduates from high school. And so it changes. So from sacrifice from that standpoint, yes. But what he has brought to our family, what both of them have brought to our family, far outweighs the sacrifice.
And do you plan to bring them on the company, like your older sons? And
Yeah, none of them really now want to sell insurance.
they're not interested.
You know, we if they ever want to talk about it and come, we would talk to them about it and see if that's something they would want to do.
What do they like?
So my oldest son's law enforcement. He's Anaheim PD. My second son is engineering major, so he wants to be an engineer. Evan wants to be a baseball player still, so he's still figuring that out. And then Josh wants to be a Marine. You know, Athena, what does Athena want to do? I think she wants to be a vet. And David, you know, he wants to be a monster or something. He's still figuring out what he wants to be.
Yeah. And what do you do for fun? Last question.
So we love sports. So I think sports is a big part of our family. I played baseball in college. So my oldest son played baseball in college. We love football. I've got a son Evan, who will play baseball in college as soon as he's ready to do that. My Josh plays football at Ukaipa High School here. But we love sports. We love camping. We love anything that keeps us together as a family. That's what we love to do.
And you still play yourself?
No, I'm beat up and old, and now it hurts. So I watch. I'll play catch and do things like that. But yeah, no, I don't want to hurt anymore. So my days are done. I'll golf. I do like to golf.
Oh, you picked up golf?
I golf.
Lately, or?
Yeah, no, we still go. I've golfed my whole life, you know, ever since, you know, I got done with baseball in college. But, you know, the ball goes straight. That's great. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'll buy another ball. But yeah.
Yeah, I need to pick up golf.
Yeah, it's fun. You should. You should come with us.
A lot of you know, at the end of the day, you are who you surround yourself with. And, you know, a lot of people with businesses usually tend to play golf. And I think it's something to be outdoor and to walk and so at the same time build relationships.
For me, it's a release, and you're absolutely right. It's a great way to, you know, spend 4 or 5 hours with somebody.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Najee. It was fun.
Awesome.
Okay.